Hi everyone, it's Lindey. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to show you how I store my listed inventory. So I'm pretty sure that this is the most requested video I think I've ever gotten on my channel. And it's also a video that I have been putting off filming for literally months. Mostly because every single time I feel like I have a hold on the entire inventory organization situation, I feel like I change it. And I didn't want to film this video until I felt like I had my organization down pat. But unfortunately, I think that it's going to always be ever changing because of the way I seem to grow and adapt the inventory system. And so I figured I might as well stop putting it off and just make the video. Because I do think it's also really important to acknowledge the fact that there's really no wrong way or a right way to store your inventory, because you need to make it so that it is efficient for you. So an inventory system that might be completely efficient for me might not work for you, and someone's inventory system that's really efficient for them might not work for me. So I wanted to show you guys how I am currently storing all of my inventory so that I can easily find the items when they sell. And then I also wanted to show you guys exactly what keeps changing and how I've been developing my inventory system so that maybe you can get your own ideas and you can kind of figure out an inventory system that works best for you and what you're selling on eBay. And please understand that this is not an overnight thing. I switched from clothing to health, beauty, and personal care over 18 months ago, and I am still trying to figure out how to best organize my listed inventory. So it is definitely not something that you just wake up one day and suddenly you have this perfected inventory system that just works for you. You have to grow it and develop it as you learn and as you grow your business. Just like you don't wake up one day and start becoming a six-figure seller, you have to grow it and develop those skills. The same thing with your inventory system. So first I'm gonna show you how my inventory system is set up and talk to you a little bit about why I decided to select these certain categories. And then I actually wanna talk to you guys about how my inventory changes month to month and how I expand on that with my inventory system whenever I need to make those changes. So I currently have 4 shelving units in this room. I've got 2 really long ones side by side here. I have a third one that's over here on this wall, and then I have a 4th one that's over here on this wall. So each shelf holds similar items. So you could see here that this shelf over here has a lot of things like supplements, vitamins, pain relief, things like that. And then over here, this shelf has to do with a lot of skincare. So facial scrubs, eye creams, night creams, moisturizers, things like that. And then down here, we also have like hair color and then cosmetic bags. So this is completely full of cosmetic bags. And then there's a few on top here just because I didn't want to smash them. Then over here on this wall, this is primarily cosmetics. We have nails, and then we have things like mascara, concealers, eyelashes and eyebrows, face powders, foundation sticks and liquid, highlighters, contouring. You can see just everything having to do with putting on cosmetics. And then over here, this is all primarily body care. So we have soaps, hair care, beard care, deodorants, body sprays, and perfumes. We have hair care here. You could see this stuff gets very, very heavy. I should have been placing them more on these steel beams instead of just the boards that they were on, because you can see here it's actually bending. So I need to repair that because this stuff gets super heavy. Shampoos, conditioners, things like that. So this is all hair care here. And then we have body care. And then down here we have things like sunscreens, face sticks, Sun Fun that has things like tanning and color, things like that. So that's kind of how I have all of these separated. So if it does not fit into one of these categories here, let me show you where I put that stuff. So in another part of my basement, I do have 2 more shelving units, but these are not used as frequently. So in these bins here, these are all kind of the odd one-offs that I have that don't really fit into the categories of what's in the other room. And then up here on the top shelf, that's where I would keep the things like the shavers or the hair tools, things like that. These would all be stored on these shelves over here. These are all the bigger things that wouldn't necessarily fit in a bin. And if they are in a bin, it's because they don't really have a place in the other room. So these are basically the shelves that are more open where I don't really use a lot of bins. It's just the things that don't necessarily fit in with the themes of the bins in the other room. My favorite things to store these smaller items is definitely the banker boxes, because in these banker boxes you can fit a lot of small items like the cosmetics, and they don't get too heavy and they don't get so full that you can't find items. You know, like this is a box of all acne. So the box is still lightweight enough. You can easily find what you're looking for. Same thing here. This one is all night creams. If I sell a night cream, I know exactly where to find it, and it's really easy to locate. And I don't necessarily feel the need to separate based on brand, because if I sell something and it's a facial toner, for instance, if I sell a Thayer's facial toner, the bins are small enough to where I can't overpack them. And if I just look inside, I'll be able to find what I'm looking for very, very easily. So these bigger bins, I really only put the larger items, because if I were to put really super small items in these massive bins like cosmetics or face creams, this thing would get so full, I would never be able to find anything. I would have to end up dumping this entire bin to find it. So only in those big bins do I put items that are big and bulky, or like in this one here. This one, I just have hair color. There's a lot of these, and so anything that I might come across a multiple quantity of that's that high of a quantity, that's when I will use these bigger bins. But if not, I will just use these really small banker boxes, because it makes it really simple to just look in and easily find what I'm looking for without having to dump the entire thing. I feel like these banker boxes really help me keep the inventory under control. And if these boxes end up getting too full, that's an indicator to me that it's time to split stuff that's in here and add another box. Like this one here, these are all my face masks and peels. I can see that this box is getting pretty full. So if I list very many more face masks or face peels, that's going to be an indicator to me that I'm going to need to separate these, because it's going to be really hard to find stuff in here because it's just so overwhelmingly full. We have to make sure that the boxes are not so full that we can't find things quickly when they sell. So now, of all of the areas of my inventory that changes the most frequently, that would definitely be the cosmetics. And that's because depending on the quantity and the type of cosmetics that you're selling, you might have a smaller inventory system needed or a larger inventory system needed. For instance, when it comes to foundation, when I first started, I just needed one box and it held all different kinds of foundation. But as the box got bigger, I realized that I needed to change it up, and I needed to have more than just one foundation box. I needed to have a box that was all foundations in liquid form, and then I needed to have foundations that were in stick form. That includes foundations that are like these L'Oreal Infallible sticks or these Maybelline Super Stay sticks. There was just a lot of foundation sticks, and having a box of foundations was becoming overwhelming. But then beyond that, I started to realize that I needed to separate the foundation box even further and have a box of just foundation powder. And that, of course, consists of things like pressed powder or loose powders. So when I first started my cosmetic inventory system, I simply just had a few boxes. I had one box that was everything having to do with eyes, one box that had everything to do with your face, like foundations or blush, one box that was dedicated for lips, and then another box that was dedicated to eyelashes and eyebrows. But as my inventory grew, I started expanding on those boxes, and that's why I have so many today. And the reason why I waited to have my inventory system set up this way was because I was reliant on what I was actually listing in my eBay store to know exactly what I needed to have boxes for. For instance, there would be no reason for me to have an inventory box for highlighters if I was only going to have one of them that I was selling. Why would you have an entire box for just one item? That's exactly what I wanted to avoid happening. I did not want to have a whole bunch of boxes that were almost empty because I didn't have the inventory to fill them. I actually allowed the amount of inventory that I had to dictate exactly what inventory boxes I was going to need, rather than just thinking I was going to have certain different cosmetic categories, but then nothing to actually fill the boxes with. Here's another example. I had initially just started with one beauty tools box. This box had everything from tweezers to makeup brushes to eyelash curlers to hair clips, hair brushes, eye tape. This box just basically contained everything and anything having to do with applying makeup or a tool that you would need to emphasize your beauty. However, I started to notice the box was getting way too full, so I needed to break one box into 2 or 3 different boxes. So from there, I would take a look inside this beauty tools box, and I was able to tell, based on the amount of things that I had listed, what exactly needed its own box. And so that's when the beauty tools brush also evolved into having a second box just for brushes. So now this box is full of all makeup brushes. I would have had zero idea that I was even going to need a box just for makeup brushes if I didn't have so many that I had listed. Then I know that I need a box just for brushes. I wouldn't have just created a box for makeup brushes if I was only going to have one set that was listed. That would be pointless. Why would you have an entire box when you only have one item listed? But because I was able to look in that beauty tools box and see so many makeup brushes taking up valuable space, that's what told me I needed an inventory storage box just for those makeup brushes. And if you'd want another one, here's another example. Lips. So this box used to be everything having to do with your lips. It had chapstick, it had lipstick, it had liners, it had all of that. But I started to notice that there was one particular item for your lips that was starting to overtake the box. And when a box gets way too full, it's really hard to dig through and find the items when it sells. When a box gets too full, that is an indicator to me that I need to take that one box and I need to break it down into multiple boxes that allows me to more easily find the merchandise. So this box of all lip items, I was starting to see a running theme, and so that meant that I needed to make a second box containing chapsticks and lip care. So now this is a box that is all chapstick and lip scrubs. So anything having to do with hydrating or exfoliating your lips, that goes in this box. And that other box now only has lipsticks in them. But I am already starting to see that this lip box is starting to get super full. I'm having a very strong feeling that here eventually I'm gonna have to start separating stick lipstick from liquid lipstick. And so that is going to be my next step. I don't completely see that as being necessary to do today, but the more lipsticks and lip glosses and liquid lipsticks that I end up listing, I'm going to have to separate this box again because it's starting to get so full, it's really difficult to find things when they sell. And that is a big point that I want to make when it comes to having boxes that are not super full. It's all about efficiency and finding the item when it sells. If a shade of lipstick sells, I want to make sure that I'm able to find it in that box in a reasonable time frame. If I have to go through 200 tubes of lipstick to find that one that sold, I am wasting valuable time that I could be using doing other things. So when I start to notice that a box is getting too full and it takes me a really long time to find things, that is an indicator to me that it is time to narrow down that box again and expand it so that not so many items fill the box. Because remember, your inventory system should be about efficiency. You want to be able to find the items that you sold very quickly so that you can get in, get out, and get it shipped and out the door. Here's another example of something that I had to do that for that's not cosmetics. I used to have a big tub that was all things having to do with face and skincare. This bin had moisturizers, it had cleansers, it had facial oils, it had serums. If you put it on your face and it took care of your skin, it went in this box. But after so long, this box started to get so full that I couldn't find what I needed. And that's what prompted me to break it off into more boxes. So now I have a box of all moisturizers and a box of all facial toners. So now that leaves in this bin only face creams and cleansers, which makes it not as full and a lot easier for me to find items when it sells. So that's basically how I've been developing my inventory system as I go. When I notice a bin gets too full, I break it down into more bins so that it's easier to find things. It's really nothing fancy. I know that when I was selling clothing, I did have, a numerical system. I would, assign each pair of jeans an inventory number. If it wasn't a pair of jeans, then they would go in a corresponding lettered bin, and that's how I would keep track of inventory. If something sold, I would go to the bin that was labeled A, and I would pull that article. Or if it was a pair of jeans and it was number 768, I would go to the corresponding stack, and that's how I would find the jeans. But I don't see a system like that being beneficial when selling things like health, beauty, or personal care, because things differ so much in size, and I don't want to necessarily have a tube of lipstick in the same bin as toothpaste, or I don't want to have deodorants mixed in with something like vitamins. It doesn't make any sense to me to do it that way, especially because if something sells and it's a night cream, I know exactly where to find it. If something sells and it's toothpaste, I know exactly where to find it. Doing it this way seems overly simple, but it works. And that's the important thing to remember. Do what works best for you. Do what's the most efficient way of organizing your inventory for you. This is just what works best for me. So if you want to try it similar to the way I do it, I highly suggest it. It's been working really well for me. I can put away things very, very quickly. I can put an entire bin of inventory away in under 10 minutes. When item sells, I can find them in as little as 12 seconds. I actually timed myself once. It's really super fast and it works for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video and videos like this, please do give it a thumbs up. That way I know it. And I do promise you guys, I will not wait so long before doing another inventory video, because I do suspect my inventory system is going to change as my store grows and develops. And if I turn to another way of storing my inventory, I promise you guys that I will keep you up to date on how my inventory system has changed beyond what you're seeing here today. Please leave all questions and comments down in the comments below. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already and ring the notification bell. That way you're notified whenever I post a new video. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you with my next video. Bye-bye.